Senator Meredith?
No contract.
Okay. When we look at contracts, number 98, 99, and 100, Senator Meredith no longer has any questions, but since you all have shown up here, do I hear a motion for approval of these contracts?
So move.
We have a motion by Senator Meredith. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Co-Chair Hart. Please call the roll.
Senator Meredith,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thomas, Representative Ballman, Representative McCool, Representative Rourks,
Aye.
Representative Hart,
Yes.
and Chairman Douglas.
I'm going to vote a no on this. Still passes, right? Okay. The contracts will move forward. Thank you so very much for the information that you provided this morning. The next item on the pulled list is with Tourism Office, the Office of the Secretary. It's number 107 on the routine PSC green list. As representatives come, Representative or Co-Chair Hart will have some questions. But
Good
first,
morning.
if you'll state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. I'm Mike Manget. I'm Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Tourism.
Thank you very much. Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I'll turn this over to Co-Chair Hart.
Thanks so much, Mr. Chair. I think I know the answer for this, but I'm going to ask it anyways just to make sure. But have we had contracts like this with the United Kingdom before?
Yes, sir.
And do you all have any data that you could maybe share with the committee on the effectiveness of the previous contracts, or maybe even comment?
Sure. Yes, sir. We've had a contract like this since 2013. There was a gap prior to that, but there were contracts even prior to that. Our return on investment for the international visitor, when they visit Kentucky, spends 6 times more daily than a domestic traveler. In 2023, which is the last time we have data, our most recent data, we had about 320,000 international visitors that spent over $220 million in the Commonwealth. So it's a very, very good return on investment. In that time, we've also launched into Kentucky, into the CVG airport, a direct nonstop flight from London Heathrow on British Airways. We have a direct nonstop from Paris on Delta, also into CVG. So those are not just leisure travelers, they're business travelers as well. So they're very, very important markets for us.
Great. And do you have like a breakdown or kind of itemization of how the money's spent? Like, is it for marketing, salaries,
Yes, sir.
admin?
Yes, sir. $14,500 a month is a retainer. That is broken up. $6,000 goes to the UK representatives. $4,100 goes to French representatives in France, as all part of this contract. Another $3,900 goes to the representative that oversees Germany, Austria, and Switzerland for us. The balance of it is marketing and out-of-pocket expenses. Those include marketing and advertising. That also includes things like familiarization trips, which is bringing travel agents and tour operators and media from those markets into the state so they can experience and become familiar with what we have to offer. Then they go back and are able to sell that as a package. International travel is much different in many cases than domestic travel. What I mean by that is they still utilize travel agents and tour operators. They want packaged itineraries. They want tickets in advance to go see the Bluegrass Music Museum in Owensboro, the Corvette Museum, our distilleries, whatever it may be. The international visitor rarely stays in one state the entire time. They usually visit two to three states over multiple weeks. So part of this is working with those tour operators to promote what Kentucky has. Our biggest challenge in Kentucky, whether it's domestic or international, is getting people here the first time. It's an awareness. So these are boots on the ground. They can do this on a daily basis, much better than we can just placing advertising. So it's a wide variety. There's public relations in there, earned media. What I mean by that is if we bring a journalist here from the UK, as a matter of fact, we just did recently, she's written three articles in The Independent, which is one of the largest newspapers and digital online outlets in the UK, talking about everything there is to do in Kentucky. That has more value than a paid advertisement because it serves as almost a third-party endorsement for, I did this experience, you should too. If you're like me and you've read something in a magazine, or your spouse has read something in a magazine, says, I want to go do that, we usually go do it. So all of that is built into this.
All right, great. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Do I have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without objections? Okay. Senator Thomas and Representative Rourke, did I hear you? Okay. Please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas.
Mr. Chair, I want to explain my I vote.
Go ahead.
I want you to know that from 2002 to 2007, I was the financial chair of the Lexington Visitors and Tourist Commission. So I have a lot of experience in the tourism industry. And I'm a lifelong Kentuckian. So I am always for any effort to avoid Kentucky being a flyover state. I think this is a beautiful state. You have a great deal to offer. So I applaud what you're doing. I want to encourage you to keep doing it because Kentucky is a gem of the United States of America.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Yes. Contract
you.
passes. Thank you so very much for the information, and thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and please get out and visit state attractions this summer. Thank you very much.
We will do that. We'll make that a priority. Next items on the pulled list are with Facilities and Support Services. They are number 29 and number 48 on the PSC Amendment Ivory list. And I just have a couple of questions as you all approach.
Barbara
Again.
Dickens, General Counsel of the Finance Cabinet.
Charles Bush, Interim Commissioner, Finance Facilities.
Raise your right hand, please. Solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so very much. I know this morning is running on. I'm going to take a look at 29 and 48 together, and
Yes, sir.
and I'm trying to put we've got engineering information, and then we got architectural. That's number 48. I always have the question: why is it costing so much? We're not getting any hard wiring. We're not getting anything laid down. What are we paying for?
It's the cost of the design for individual projects. On the engineering side, you've got the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing that you design. So we hire professional engineers to take care of that part of it. On the architectural side, we hire professional architects to lay the project out. So they're in first, honestly, and then the engineers come in behind and put the bones into the project.
And my major concern is that we're paying too much for the services that we're getting. Not that they're not good services, but I think getting services at just any cost is in the healthcare space. I think that I often talk to my colleagues about charging too much for what people are getting.
Yes, sir.
And I think sometimes we take a look at some of this reimbursement, and people are saying, this is what I need. And then everyone argues, well, if you want to get somebody good, you've got to pay that price. Really? I don't think so, because I think there are others who will stand in line.
Yes, sir. I'll say in the lab expansion project, that's a very specialized field with dealing with those pathogens. So there's a lot of architectural engineering firms that don't touch that work. That drives the price up because of how special that project is. If that helps any.
No. I understand that. I
Yes,
actually
sir.
made a visit to that facility last year.
Good.
And I was one of the people who recommended.
Great.
We got to do something.
Thank you.
If anyone who walks through there and has any knowledge of isolation procedures would walk out of there and say, I don't want to go back in there until we do something. So
Yes, sir, and I thank you. And because of that, we have to get the best to put that project together as you see in your mind.
I just wanted to get it on the record that when I take a look at some of our reimbursement for some of our architectural firms and some of our engineering firms, I know I'm not making many friends doing this. I think they're exorbitantly high, and I think we need to take a second look at what we're paying in some of these spaces.
Noted.
With that being said, are there any other questions? No other questions. Okay, I'll make the motion to consider the contract review without objection. Do I hear a second? Second. Okay, I hear a second from Senator Meredith. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye, thank you so very much for being here. And
Thank
again,
you.
this is not an affront to you all.
Oh, I understand.
I think that we just need to be more empathetic about what we're paying and where that money is going. But I really want to appreciate you all taking the time to come in this morning.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate your interest.
The next item on the pulled list is with the Attorney General. It is number 23 on the routine MOA pink list. Representatives are here. Make yourselves comfortable. Will you introduce yourselves for the record, please?
Thank you. Chris Evans, Executive Director, Kentucky Opioid Abatement Advisory Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Christopher Thacker, General Counsel for the Office of Attorney General.
Thank you so very much. Please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you so very much for being here today. Senator Meredith has some questions.
I do, and it's not this particular contract. I could pull any one of these that you folks have presented to us. There's voluminous numbers here. But same token, what you don't see is what we receive under our MOA for the developmental disability, behavioral health, developmental, and intellectual disabilities. We're spending a boatload of money on substance abuse, which you folks so well know. But they're doing it just on their side. It's staggering the number of dollars we're committing to this effort, which obviously we need. But you folks are kind of doing the same thing. So I just want you to educate me how we coordinating our efforts, and why does this run through you folks? Is it because of the funding mechanism rather than through behavioral health, developmental disabilities? How are we balancing all this?
Well, the answer to your question, sir, yes, it is based on the funding process in terms of the way that we allocate funds and the decisions that we make in doing so. The funds which come to us, the requests that come to the commission has the requirement to review and make determinations on whether to support it or not. There are commission members representing, as you know, Secretary Friedlander is a commission member as part of the commission. So for the ability for those who serve on the commission to understand how it may interact with the programs that currently exist is based on that. But the commission is charged with expending those funds based on the applications that come before it.
And that was my question. I just want to make sure the left hand knew what the right hand was doing, and you're doing a coordinated effort. So I appreciate that assurance, and that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Meredith. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay. Do we have a motion to consider the contract reviewed without
I'll move.
We have a motion by Senator Meredith. Okay. We have a second by Senator Richardson. Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith.
I vote aye, and thank you for your work.
Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
I vote aye. The contract will move forward. It passes. I know you guys are part of a really big aircraft carrier, and I know you're doing your darndest to kind of shave some of the weight off of it. And I really appreciate the efforts that you gentlemen are making. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time and support.
The next items on the pulled list are with behavioral health and development. The behavioral health, development, and intellectual disabilities. They're number 33 on the routine MOA pink list and number 38 on the MOA amendment yellow list. We do have someone here. Thank you so very much. Again, just make yourself comfortable. Introduce yourself to the committee and for the
Hi,
record.
I'm Patty Clark. I'm the Director for the Division of Mental Health within the Department for Behavioral Health, Developmental, and Intellectual Disabilities.
Okay, thank you very much. Would you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. I actually have a question on number 33 because I read this and the funds are to expand access to Kentucky's crisis response. Could you help me with that, with what that means? Because I guess I'll let you answer that question first.
Absolutely. This contract supports the implementation of chat and text services for 988 in Kentucky. It will make those services available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that means that Kentucky crisis response specialists will be answering those chats and texts from Kentucky residents.
So this is how long has this contract been in effect?
This is a new contract.
Okay, that's what I
Yes.
thought.
Yes, this is
Okay.
a new contract. We are currently not, we have a very limited number of chat and text that are answered in state at the moment. We have about 1,300 of 16,000 that come from Kentucky residents that are answered in state. This contract will allow all of the chats and texts that come from Kentucky residents to be addressed by Kentucky crisis response specialists.
And if I may, have there been any considerations as to what modifications may have to be made since there will likely be some changes or some shifting of funds at the federal level, and that's certainly going to affect us here in the Commonwealth. Has there been conversation in that particular space?
Absolutely. We're watching the federal landscape closely to determine what is coming. At this point, we are not hearing that the main 988 services specifically will be affected. We have heard some issues, that some of the sub-networks will be taken down, but not the overall 988 network itself. So we are moving forward with our plans to make sure that crisis services are available to all Kentuckians.
You're aware you can't believe everything you don't hear.
Absolutely.
Okay. Do I have any questions? I have, Senator Richardson has a question.
Absolutely, I have those for you. So during the past year, May 1st of 24 to April 30th of 25, we had 68,000 Kentuckians who reached out to 988 services, and that includes 52,000 that were calls, so picking up the phone and calling 988, and then 16,000 were chats and texts. So all calls of chats and texts are answered. They just go to a national center, and so the initiative over the last years have been to make sure that those calls, chats, and texts are answered locally. We know that local serves local best, and that's our focus. Thank you.
Do you have a motion to consider this contract to be without objection? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no.
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. This contract has been approved, but in the meantime, we also have some questions from Co-Chair Hart regarding, well, that's
Yeah, number 30.
on the MOA amendment yellow list on number 38. Co-Chair Hart?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think we have.
Yep.
Ladies, please identify yourselves for the record.
I'm Dr. Caitlin Hood. Can you hear me okay? Is that on?
Make sure the green light's on.
Got it. Thank you. Dr. Caitlin Hood. I'm the Assistant Director in the Division of Substance Use Disorder within the Department for Behavioral Health, Developmental, and Intellectual Disabilities. I'm also the Project Director of the Kentucky Overdose Response Effort, which supports the Voices of Hope contract.
Hello, Sarah Johnson. I'm the Director for the Division of Substance Use Disorder within the Department for Behavioral Health, Developmental, and Intellectual Disabilities.
Thank you, ladies. Would you please raise your right hands? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you so very much. Thank you both for being here. Co-Chair Hart has some questions.
Thank you all so much. As I looked at this, I mean, we're basically doubling the contract and doubling the length. And I'm curious as to what's happened and why this wasn't considered at the beginning that it would need to be this long. And so basically I'm wanting just a little bit more justification on why we need the $2.8 million increase in the extension. So.
That's a fair question. So this contract is supported through funds from SAMHSA that we get on an annual basis. And so when we initially developed this contract with Voices of Hope for the original amount, which was the $2.837 million, that was to support services in FY25, and the modification is to support services in FY26. So the amount is doubled because we are continuing the services for another fiscal year.
All right. That's all the questions I had, Mr. Chairman.
That's it?
That's it. It's easy. And I'm prepared to make a motion.
Do we have a motion?
If nobody has any more questions, I'll make a motion for approval.
Representative Marr has made the motion. Senator Richardson has seconded. All those in favor vote aye. All those opposed say no. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. Thank you so very much, ladies. Thank you for the explanations, and we want you to have a wonderful day.
Thank you as well.
Next item on the pulled list are with the Department for Community-Based Services and our number 38 on the routine MOA pink list and number 47 on the MOA amendment yellow list. Representatives are here again. You have a question.
Yeah, I've got his question for 38.
Please identify yourselves for the record.
Misty Sammons, Director of the Division of Administration and Financial Management for DCBS.
Welcome back. Yes, sir.
Roger McKay. I'm an executive advisor within the Department for Community-Based Services.
Thank you, sir, and thank you both for being here. Would you please raise your right hands? Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. With that being said, Co-Chair Hart has a few questions.
All right, thank you so much. You're basically contracting with an organization that advocates for more funding and program supports for food programs. And if they determine that there is a need for more funding, isn't that kind of a conflict of interest, or can you help me understand that a little bit more?
Certainly. Good. Excellent question. First of all, the organization is uniquely positioned through their network of food banks to be able to do this type of a survey. Because the clients that they see are the folks that we want to target in this survey. So we can gain the information from them. Secondly, we are vitally interested in this information because food is, of course, a necessity. We see that it is a indicator, or lack thereof food is an indicator for child welfare involvement in the state of Kentucky. And also it is directly relates and corresponds to increased Medicaid expenses around diet-sensitive chronic diseases. So yes, we expect that they will utilize this data to advocate for change in systems, but we want to see the data raw as it is. That's why in the deliverables it is specified that we get all the data from this so that we can draw our own conclusions. They do intend to make this data available publicly to the legislature, but the cabinet will get a full copy of it as well.
Is there any third parties that can maybe do this, or is there a reason why we want the same group to do it? Because it seems to me like if it was a third party, wouldn't it be a little bit more reliable, and there wouldn't be less indication of a conflict?
We selected them because of that network. We know that they can do 120 county coverage. They're also a Kentucky-based nonprofit, and the organizations that they work with are all here in Kentucky. So specific to Kentucky, when we look at the ecosphere, we didn't see another organization that had that reach and that coverage that could do that. It would maybe require having multiple contracts. That would increase overhead and introduce inefficiency to it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chairman.
I do have a particular question or comment, as I'm known to ask these things. We talk a lot about food insecurity, which really doesn't have any definition. And I don't know whether we're talking about lack of food or whether we're talking about lack of appropriate diet, which are two totally different things. But the problem is they both cost money. And if we don't fix both, fixing one won't help at all. So I think sometimes we direct our information or direct some of our monies in an inappropriate way because we're not willing to ask the appropriate questions for fear of hurting someone's feelings. And I hope during the time that you're doing this study, you all will keep that in mind. When I see a 13, 14-year-old who's 6'3", 6'4", weighs 250 pounds, I don't see one who's got lack of food. Yet we direct a lot of our energy saying lack of food. So I would implore you all to really, if you have to, bifurcate the study and take a look at whether we're looking at lack of food or lack of appropriate diet, lack of appropriate guidance with regard to diet.
Point taken. Yes, sir. Thank you.
With that being said, do I have a motion to consider this contract reviewed without objection?
So moved.
We have a motion by Co-Chair Hart. Do I hear a second? I'll second it. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. Contract passes. We also have a second question on number 47 MOA amendment yellow list that Co-Chair Hart also will ask.
All right. Thank you. How long has the DCBS paid for the Building Bridges Initiative trainings? Do y'all? Excuse me, I didn't see you coming up.
Green button on. Please introduce yourselves for the record.
My name is Kristen Breeden, the Out-of-Home Care Branch Manager for the Cabinet.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
So BBI, Building Bridges Initiative, started in the fall. So that was under the October, I believe, amendment that we had, mod, that the contract was. So that is working with our private child care providers in residential care, providing both training opportunities for them, but also a peer-to-peer mentorship between our residential. So one residential can mentor another residential that may be going through some of the same challenges, whether it's staffing, trauma-informed care on the provider scale. So that's what Building Bridges is, a nationally recognized program for our residentials that care for our out-of-home care population, congregate care.
All right, great. Have they demonstrated any positive outcomes or had any great impact or any impact at all on the permanency?
We're really just getting it launched, so I would love to probably share some of that information in 6 months to a year. So it started in the fall. I think they just had their second large group meeting chaired. So,
well, I'd like to request that 6 months or so from now, if you could share results with us, it'll give us a good indication of whether it's a good program or meeting the expectations.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much. That's all I have.
I'd also like to share that since there are a multiplicity of programs that are already operate in this particular space, once we get that information, perhaps we can consider how we can consolidate programs or perhaps get rid of programs that obviously have not been showing the results that you're looking for. Otherwise, we would need a new program.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? If there are no other questions, we'll vote on this one. Do we have a motion to consider the contract? Okay, Co-Chair Hart, second. Anyone have? I have second it. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Meredith. Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. Thank you all for being here, and thank you so very much for presenting the information. We really, really appreciate that. The next items on the pull list are with the state treasurer, and they are number 100, number 101, number 102 on the routine MOA pink list. Thank you very much. Make yourselves comfortable. If you would, please identify yourselves for the record.
Vicki Goins. I'm the fiscal manager for the Kentucky Council on Developmental Disabilities.
Johnny Calebs. I'm the executive director for the Commonwealth Council on Developmental Disabilities.
I'm Jennifer Hicks. I'm the program coordinator for CCDD.
Thank you all. Thank you all so very much. And it's always nice to see someone come to the table and smile. We're not that bad up here. Senator Meredith has a question.
It is very simple, very straightforward, I believe. All three contracts deal with support for developmental disabilities. Why is this under the state treasurer's office?
They are our designated state agency, so they pull down the federal funding
So it's just,
that we get.
Just a funding mechanism.
It is so that we remain independent
Okay.
from other agencies in state government that provide services.
Okay. I guess.
It's a requirement of the DD Act.
Is that a federal requirement
It is.
for that particular funding?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
Co-Chair Hart, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm all for supporting people with developmental disabilities, but I don't really understand what that has to do with advocacy and sexuality initiatives. So maybe if you could just explain that program or what that does.
Right.
We are tasked with, our council is appointed by the governor, and every 5 years they write a 5-year plan. And the 5-year plan focuses on 3 goals, which are self-advocacy. Currently, they're self-advocacy, system change, and capacity building. That one is focused on capacity building. It's supposed to better help people with developmental and intellectual disabilities fully access, be a full part of their community. So our notice of funds available are written pretty broad, and they say things like, to help people with developmental and intellectual disabilities better access their community. So we get all sorts of things from CPR training to this one, which was about people with developmental and intellectual disabilities having awkward conversations, and those hard conversations centering around sexuality. So a lot of times it's hard for caregivers or parents to talk to people with disabilities about those things, but it's still important to do. So this is a group of peers that get together. They meet monthly and quarterly, and then they're having an unconference at the end of the year to sort of talk about those things that aren't talked about.
Okay, thank you. I think she answered my question.
Thank you very much, and she also gave me an idea, and I really appreciate that. You've had yours.
Motion to approve all 3 contracts.
Have a motion to approve all
Second.
3 contracts. And a second? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith.
Aye.
Senator Richardson. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourks.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. I am paying attention. I just had a different conversation going on. Thank you all so very much for showing up and having the patience to wait so long. We really, really appreciate that, and we appreciate the information you brought us this morning. Thank you. Have a wonderful
Welcome.
day.
Thank you.
You all too.
The last item on the pulled list is with the Department for Public Health, and it's number 7 on the MOA Amendment yellow list. And ladies, you all win the prize this morning for having the patience and waiting so long. I have no idea what that prize is, but whatever it is, you've won that. Please identify yourselves for the record.
Yeah, my name is Shelby Van Alstyne. I'm the program administrator for the Kentucky Colon Cancer Screening and Prevention Program and the Colorectal Cancer Control Program.
And I'm Elizabeth Anderson Hoagland. I'm the Chronic Disease Prevention Branch Manager in the Kentucky Department for Public Health.
Well, welcome to my world, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Now we serve on something together. So Co-Chair Hart has a couple of questions.
Yeah. I'm curious, what types of COVID-related issues are you all studying with this?
So we are not. This is actually an inaccurate description of our contract. This description came from the previous biennium contract, which was a shared contract between the Colorectal Cancer Control Program and the Community Health Worker Program. It was a contract for fiscal year 23 through 24. I'm not exactly.
So I guess since it's an inaccurate description, could you just tell us what you are studying? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. We are a dual program, so we have an agency-funded, state-mandated program, and we also have a CDC federally funded colorectal cancer control program. So this contract specifically, I have many, so they may come up as well. This contract specifically, we study mainly on a health system level. So trying to collect data from clinics across the state of Kentucky to see what their colon cancer screening rates are. So we look at multiple ages. So we look at age ranges from 50 to 75, 45 to 49. We look at overall from 45 to 75. We look at how many of those were colonoscopies, how many of those were Cologuard kits, different stool-based screening tests. So trying to evaluate which areas in the state have certain screening rates, we really help to identify needs in those clinics, and we specifically focus on clinics with extremely or significantly low screening rates in their clinic.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm good.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions.
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion by Co-Chair Hart. Second by Senator Richardson. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Aye. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
And Chairman Douglas.
Aye. Contract is approved. Thank you very much, ladies, for your patience, and thank you for waiting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please take a moment to review item number 12 on your agenda. Is there a motion to approve same? Senator Richardson makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Do we need to take a vote? We do need to take a vote? Yes. Okay. Madam Clerk, call roll.
Senator Meredith. Aye. Senator Richardson. Aye. Senator Thomas. Representative Ballman. Representative McCool. Representative Rourke.
Aye.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Chairman Douglas.
Aye. It is approved. There has been an exemption request. The Kentucky Department of Agriculture requests an exemption from the committee policy statement number 99-4, which prohibits contracts and agreements from extending beyond the current biennium for a one-time agreement with a captive cervid producer. Okay, that's what we just did. Okay, before the adjournment, I want to announce that the June 2025 meeting date, which will be June the 10th. It will be at 9 o'clock. I want to thank everybody for being here. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you all for your patience.
But I'm having such a good time.